as is expected, but now it's going to be EDG taking Yuumi, I have no doubt. And then do they take the Wukong here and pairing? I feel like this is rough because now I feel like EDG's draft, like, at least so far, has gotten even better. Like, now FPX can't take the Silas, right? They're dealing with a Wukong who's really high prio on the patch. This is just not a fun time. And the thing is, you know Sivir's coming on 3, so you can't take Vi yourself because Vi just gets destroyed by Sivir. They will take the Ahri, at least something that Care is really powerful on. I do wonder what they'll take in the jungle, though. But I think you have to take support here first. It has to be the Lulu, so... And then
jungle
Sivir here.
Banned out. Orcs, EDG, as you said, Sivir coming through, but go further than that. Jungle not picked up means what? Trundle ban, Sejuani, not Sejuani, excuse me. We've seen Jarvan bans, we've seen Zinzao bans, excuse me. There's been a lot targeted towards Clid. I mean, hell, he played the Viego in game number 2. Maybe EDG just get a free ban there.
Yeah, I think you probably could just go Zinzao and Jarvan again. Okay. I don't think you need to ban... I mean, one of the things with Trundle is that Sivir gets so much movement speed, you can just run around the pillar, which is kind of ridiculous to say. But you never need to ban Vi, that's the thing, because I feel like, you know, Sivir's the AD carry in the game that counters Vi the hardest. They're actually banning it, which is weird to me, because I feel like you just spell shield the ult. But regardless, they're respecting it. I feel like maybe the Jarvan comes in as a ban here, though, as the extra one. Just I think Jarvan's really hard to play against as Sivir because you're going to have to trade your flash for that ult. And obviously, the ult's lower cooldown. FPX to start with the mid lane bans once again, though.
Good call.
Banning away the LeBlanc. And here could go for the Flandre, which we have seen super high prio into the Ahri. Does mean that Scout has dropped a lot of the pool that we normally see picked here.
I wonder, is they might be setting it up for the counter pick. I mean, Flandre was on the Renekton last game, but as he looks at it yet again, this time doesn't have a top lane champion against him. And Orcs, it looks like Flandre doesn't care. There's the blind pick, and we have to see if someone's able to challenge that here for FPX.
Yeah, I don't want to see the one again. It really wasn't doing it for me. So I feel like you have to have a different option. A Bruiser could come in here. We saw back in the days when Aatrox was like really firmly in the meta, we saw a lot of Aatrox versus Renekton in the top lane. We did see the Viego come out in the end, so not really interested in the Zinzao that was left open. And Summit, you know, he played that Aatrox up against OMG, but he's hovering over some different picks. But I prefer him on a Bruiser. I want to see someone on a Bruiser, not a pure tank. And he goes for the Jax. Okay. Something that does make it difficult for the auto attackers on the side of EDG.
I mean, I'm kind of wondering because Orcs, that can be quite a volatile lane. I'll ask you in a second, though, because I know we need to see what EDG pick as their last. Because this could just be the 3-0. And Scout, it's all about mid. He's been so good on the taliyah Orcs. Right now, Scout is one of the best taliyahs in the league. He's 5-0 with a 14 KDA. And in our third game, it looks like this is how he wants to try and seal the deal.
And I like, because they were hovering TF, but I feel like your full AD, you need magic damage. And taliyah does a ton of damage. She did get nerfed on this patch. Her E, her Unraveled Earth, has a bit of a longer cooldown. And her ultimate is now 5 seconds duration. The wall, not 4. No, sorry, it's 4 now, not 5, sorry. So, little bits of nerfs, which is why we haven't seen taliyah as much since we've been in playoffs, but still a really strong champion. I think EDG, bit of a difference in how their comp's going to play out. Less of a threat onto these mobile champions than the Vi Ahri had, but still... You have Viper with the Sivir, you have the Yuumi in tandem. If you get to those team fights, it's going to be pretty problematic for the side of FPX.
So quickly tell me about FPX then, because now we have a side lane threat on Summit, and I know you didn't like the Ornn in game number 2, so now that there's a Jax here, is it simply about setting up the top lane for Summit in a quick sentence?
Yeah, I mean, you can set up top lane, you can get that to have a lead, you can set a bot lane, you can just lean to the sides with a strong mid-jungle duo, and then when it comes to team fights, look for those flank angles. Sivir, Yuumi, and taliyah great at defending from one side. If you get a flank, there's not much they can do.
Orcs are like that as well. The angles from FPX is they rely on this composition to get them across the line. Now, they start the reverse sweep. Anyone who's joining the LPL broadcast here with the 2-0 start, know that the loser of this series is gone, is out, will not be attending Worlds. How crazy is that to say that a 2021 Worlds representative will not be making their impact at 2022 Worlds? FPX and EDG goes into its third game now with Edward Gaming looking absolutely insane in two very different forms of games. As we enter Summoner's Rift and FPX going for the invade.
Run.
Yeah, like just out with the Yuumi at the nick of time. Viper actually had to burn a ghost there, Aux, so it's not for nothing for FPX.
Yeah, wanted to play it safe, and the reason that's fine is because Ghost, pretty low cooldown, and also you're taking it for the team fights, right? It's not that strong of a laning rune, so just wanted to play it safe, because if you die, maybe Meiko goes too. But what I like is that as soon as we saw them go for that invade bot, as soon as they were spotted, EDG going at a little bit of vision over here. I actually love this ward because the expectation for FPX is that there will be a ward in your top side. That's a given, right? You always know this stuff's going to happen. And this ward we're seeing on our screens now is where it's normally placed, and they often get swept out because of that, right? So I think Flandre being a bit more creative with his ward placement means it's more likely to survive. Fact of the matter is, though, Clid is starting on the bot side, so it's not really going to be relevant, but I always love creative ward placements to avoid the usually swept spots.
And I think when we have a lot of pro view now popping up for LPL, and we have a lot of, you know, a lot of these VODs coming through where people are looking at jungle pathing from the best region in the world, there's all that intuitive pathing that is mitigated, right? And also what I'm trying to say is there's very intelligent pathing in the LPL, and I always love when we have our teams tracking too, which is what's going to happen here with Care actually being able to put a deep ward on the red buff. EDG are aware that the ward's been placed on in, so at the very least, EDG will have an idea. But we're going to look at jungle pathing here as they're both starting at the bottom side and will be walking over vision as they head on up to the top side camps.
Something I want to note, though, is look how different the trades have been going in the bot lane. Like, game 2, we just saw before, it was the same matchup. Hung and Lwx are bullying them out. They're still going to have Prio here. But Viper and Meiko have really chunked them out so far. Remember, Viper and Meiko are the ones who have sustain. Yeah. Lwx and Hung should be winning the trades, and then the healing comes in from EDG, but not the case in this this laning phase so far.
Looks like they've reacted pretty well from the game 2 then, because game 2, Viper and Meiko caught off a little bit off guard, excuse me, as Lwx and Hung were able to push that advantage. And Aux, I wanted to also talk about advantages in these solo lanes, but that's going to happen
it's a
later.
repeat.
Yeah, Clid coming in red hot. The smite comes down. Junjia's there. Remember, it's AD versus AD, so Junjia will get a benefit. But right now, Clid is in full Conqueror mode as Care pushes up in the mid lane as well. Scout can't help out, and Clid just starts off these Raptors while Junjia seems to be backing away.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing there was Junjia's abilities were all on cooldown, so you have to just walk away, and he got chunked out as a result. So Clid doesn't get the red. He obviously stole the blue away last time, but now he's going for more.
What a guy. Just coming back in. A nuisance. As Big Grunt standing there. Yeah, you're right. The smite going to make a difference, but Junjia's abilities are off cooldown as Flandre's capitalizing on something. A big mistake out of the Jax. As this Renekton top ready to bite. Clid now has to be a little bit careful, Aux, as his top laner is out of commission.
Yeah, I mean, he still gets the big Krug. But Junjia's going to be able to force... Actually, he's still going for this. Dude, you don't have a top laner. This is so risky.
Yeah. Even with TP coming in, I mean, Flandre can join in. The wave set up. Clid is deep. Flandre, are you going to help me? Screams Junjia. He's just standing there. No, the wave's more important, dude. That solo queue feels there right there, Aux. I vibe with that.
Bro, he's just Flandre's bobbing his head. He's got his music playing, right? He's got his screen locked. He's just like not interested. Do your own thing, bro. He's vibing. Top lane is an island, and he's in Nirvana.
Oh, God, dude. That's just so real, man. Look, at least Clid doesn't get too much in the end, but hey, Junjia still threatened out. Clid up about a CS right now as he picks up topside scuttle as well, and has the full topside camp apart from Romp to pick up. We continue panning up towards his top side, and Aux, while we have a bit of a lull about while junglers have ceased to attack each other, I want to ask you a little bit about setup at the level 6 mark, because it feels pretty important when we have taliyah, when we have Ahri, and we have people like Viego on the Rift as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of power is given to both these mid jungles in when they get to level 6. I feel like the Ahri, Lwx is in trouble.
Oh, that's a big one. I mean, Viper, you're right. He's doing a lot better in the lane. Care has to TP in. That's just because Viper smashed down Lwx. Hung was out of lane. Aux, how is this lane so different?
I just think the early trades, like there was a point where Viper hit 2 people with a boomerang blade, and that was enough to get the advantage. Like, that's the difference it can make. It just feels like EDG are playing at better spacing. What Junjia... Bro, there's an Ahri there.
Yeah, there is. He's trying to kite out. He wants the scuttle. He gets it with the smite. Polymorph over the wall. Dude, he knew he could get it without flashing, I guess.
Oh, man. He was like, I am not leaving without the scuttle. I think he would be ready to die. The knock-on effect is now Clid can invade this boss side jungle. And I love this Clid that we're seeing, this aggressive play to challenge Junjia in the jungle. But we do see Scout roaming down here. but ultimately keeps him away. And, you know, we were talking about the level 6 point before we got to that play. Clid is up in levels in the jungle matchup. Ahri, Viego, not only great at skirmishing, but both getting resets. If you get a kill in the skirmish, they'll just get so much more power.
True as well, right? Like, there's a lot of chase down Orcs. We have Jax, we have Zeri as well, right, with a Lulu attached. So it feels like this is a very mobile composition that can chase down EDG. And that's why I wanted to ask you a little bit more further than the early game. Because against EDG, who also have mobility, it feels like for FPX, there's a lot of snowball potential that can actually take over the early game, which is what we wanted to see all series.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, either team, if you get a lead, a lot of these champions can really spike out of control. I do think like things like the Jax are going to have an edge over the Renekton in the later stage of the game. But I think in terms of like a structured 5v5, the DPS available to EDG is just insane. Between a taliyah and a Sivir with a Yuumi attached, it kind of comes on FPX to be a bit more creative and find these angles. And to do that, you need like the Ahri and the Jax to be strong. So I want those solo lanes for FPX to get ahead so that they pose threats. So the Viper can't, you know, sit in his flash for 10 minutes like he did last game and not even be threatened.
I think right now, though, we're going to pay attention to the top side because Clid is setting up for Flandre. He's taken away the Krug camp as well as Junjia is getting out jungled here, but in the 2v2, the camera pans down because Hung and Lwx are going all in, but the Ignite down, he flashes out. Viper's set up for the counter punches. Lwx backs away as well. Hung with no summoners as we're back to the top side. Dominus not even used as Summit bonks him on with not even a real weapon here. A good start from FPX at least top.
Yeah, and Flandre's been like freezing the wave in front of his tower for such a long time. He's got a Dominus now to clear the waves so you can reset. But Summit doing a pretty good job in these trades at this point, so does bring me some confidence. We do see Scout roaming around the map looking for opportunities, but now Lwx is in trouble.
Speaking of a bonk with a nice staff, there you go. Lwx is dead as Meiko takes turret aggro and first blood is given over so easy.
Yeah, so nicely played. The fact that Meiko grabs aggro. I mean, Junjia had flash, so maybe if he'd taken aggro, they could have used that. But the fact that Meiko gets it just means there's no threat. As the Yuumi, so easy to take aggro. You can even jump inside someone and then it's just an execute or just heal to jump away. So beautifully played. And the difference in this bot lane, game 2, same matchup at Lwx and Hung on top. And now I worry that Viper's already had an early start.
Yeah, I mean, last game, Viper was able to crush back in what was an extended skirmish, but even within the lane, the fact that it's a turnaround of the same matchup is kind of insane. There's a 15 CS lead just about. If I could do math properly, I'd tell you 13, but we can't see bottom wave for the time being. Let's call it 10, and let's just say that there is a pretty close first item here for Viper, while for EDG, this early game netting them about a 700 gold lead. And Orcs, we do have Dragon, we do have Herald being started up here by FPX. Dragon sitting there for the time being.
Yeah, man, this is kind of true of these. Oh, look, the engage.
Okay, there we go. The final chapter as Viper does it again onto Lwx. He doesn't have a wild growth. Hung is not level 6. As a prowling projectile is doing a bit of damage as well. Lwx is just forced out, Orcs. And just like that, EDG have another angle.
Oh, Junjia's fishing.
Speaking of that angle, right, there's a Yuumi attached now as well. Slowed with the nice little glitter lance from Hung. But EDG still have priority down here, Orcs. And look at the plating with the massive wave build-up. Look at the gold going to the God King Viper.
And this is something we talked about at the start of the day. First Dragon, EDG are 14th in the league. First Herald, they are 8th. And yet the second in the lead for goal difference of 15. They don't care about those neutrals because, sure, FPX got the Herald, but look how much they lost in the bot side. That 10 CS lead you're talking about, 30. All those plates gone to Viper as well. And now Clid, he's trying to contest, but you can't walk up here. Walking
in, even without Viper having mana, Clid needs to respect him. As he goes down to half HP, the Dragon's still going to be taken, and Clid's early lead, Orcs, once again, like game 2, is not feeling as substantial when EDG are getting their main carry ahead. That's the first Dragon too, and EDG maintain that 1k gold lead.
Yep, and the Herald is something that FPX can use to try and mitigate that. The question is going to be where they place it. I honestly feel like top is probably the easiest lane to find setup because Summit's consistently had pressure there. But I think they probably want gold onto the Zeri ultimately and try to mitigate the advantage that Viper has right now. They do get a plate for free, though, just with the wave pushing back. But Lwx, one thing to mention is that he has Ghost this game. So last game he had Cleanse because obviously the Ahri was a big threat. And sure, Ghost is I feel like Ghost is justified here, but it does mean if Meiko connects with the root, you're just a sitting duck.
True, it's a good point. And if you E through the Unraveled Earth as well, you get stunned up. People forget that the patch
dead after that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've seen so many times in LPL, LCS, LCK, like so many different regions. And to be fair, I did it in solo queue after not reading patch notes as well. So for EDG, look, it was rough. I'm like, wait, why did taliyah's E stun me? I don't understand. I gale force.
Yeah, I expected to take 1,000 damage, but a stun as well. Oh, now I know it was a mistake. Like,
ridiculous, right? Scout has that potential this game. Care and Clid moving to the bottom side. Meanwhile, though, they want Viper and Meiko, but you look at EDG's response. They're hovering around with their jungle mid 2 orcs, and they're making sure that FPX don't really have an option without a counterpunch again.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that EDG are doing this because what you don't want is to give an advantage to FPX where they can get a really good Herald. Like, let's say Viper and Meiko go for an aggressive trade, Clid is there, they end up dying. Suddenly you can actually threaten the whole tower maybe if Junjia isn't around. So he's trying to track Clid and just try and force him to take a weaker Herald. Right now he's got a minute left, so I think he's going to look for an angle. Go for a stun. Oh my god, the reaction.
It's not even warded. That's not even warded, and Viper.
Oh my god, man.
Half a second, dude.
He's not human. He's not human.
He's not, and it's him and Gala this split who have had an insane QSS slash cleanse slash spell shield reactions. Viper right now defending the bottom wave against the Herald, and FPX is a 3-man charge, at least getting himself some play, but Lwx has overstated for that extra 160 gold. He has to flash yet again, and Viper and Meiko continue to pummel. So good gold on FPX here, Orcs, but I'm kind of wondering as how this turns out, as Care might be called out. Spirit Rush away. Now's the time to ask you a question, isn't it? No,
nope, I don't think it is.
No, it's not. Wait, Viper's just turning this. Hang on. Have flashed away by Hung. The rest of EDG coming in, but Viper's done the dirty work. Boomerang Blade puts him in half as Hung has a one-shot potential. Wild Growth is available as Scout just pokes him down. TP in from FPX. They need support.
Save by Hung.
Well, Junjia is the one looking to kill over the back end as he is Clid with the flash in on top of the 80 carry. They got him. Viper's dead. FPX played the spacing nice, and they do get a response.
Man, this looked like it was going to be a disaster for EDG, but the TP coming in from Care and the pick from Clid allowing it to turn it around. It's still not a fantastic play, I got to say, for EDG. The Summoners lost. The fact they had a 4-man... Oh, we see it all in top.
Okay, well, Dominus used at the very least. Summon is backing away, and yeah, Orcs, it's all for old, and Renekton and Jax are just going to walk out each other.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing to take away from that is FPX threw the Herald down. They had 4 members coming over. It was 4v2 on the map, and yet they only got 2 plates. And then Lwx also loses his flash, and it starts to get worse. Like, EDG burned 2 flashes here, and it's just kind of insane how much they're getting, even though FPX were the ones with the Herald. But this great move here, I have to say, the fact that you see the invisibility come down from Clid, you should expect this. And Viper just a little bit disrespectful. Doesn't have the time and the spell shield on this one because of the flash. But I think it's hilarious. Against other players, you might be confident just to W at the brush, but against Viper, you know you need the flash because he will spell shield. He is that quick.
And he also used it before on the play, so I'm not sure if the 20-second cooldown or however long it this
might be down. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so there's a good timer there as well from Clid, and cheeky plays like that, Orcs, might set up FPX when they were the team down that they've now equalized in gold. And it's 30 seconds till the next dragon, so I need you to tell me how FPX keep this series floating when it has just looked EDG favored all the time. And with EDG picking up first mythics, but FPX being able to match now. So walk me through situations and how FPX gets set up as... Yeah, I'm still going to ask you.
So I think the big thing is getting reset. Oh, you don't get time. We don't get time.
No, I never do I? I'll ask you in a second. Hold the thought at the very least. EDG with a 4-man bot after the Weaver's Wall. The difference is now that Care has the ulti with the Spirit Rush, and Heartbreaker from Clid is there, but EDG are running so aggressively at this mid-jungle duo. And as FPX back off, EDG looking for the second dragon of the game, but FPX Orcs, they want to contest this one for sure.
Yeah, they want to get on the back line, and they want resets. Resets for Care, resets for Clid are huge here, but I think they might just go for the steal instead.
Flandre does have TP, though, and it is unleashed. So at the very least, EDG have that extra member, and the advantage means that FPX are going to back off. So double dragon for EDG in the early game, and FPX Orcs, they're not even going to try for those resets here.
Yeah, and the Hextech Dragon, like, just to illustrate how big that is, 2,325 gold. That is the stats it gives your team in total. It's a lot. So gold may be even. Those bonus stats make a big difference. And particularly attack speed and ability haze, great on a Sivir. Pretty good on things like Renekton and Wukong as well, even though the attack speed maybe not as valuable. But yeah, instantly EDG, happy with the outcome of that. Move over to the Herald. We'll see if FPX try and contest Viper.
Trying, at least the spell should come through the first time, but the charm still connects. The Ultra Shock Laser is a half HP trade as FPX walk in now aggressively, but Wild Growth, Spirit Rush, both those ultis were used as Summit now tries to zone off, but the Herald, the local gold, goes over and EDG are making their escape. Care now without his ulti as EDG, no, there's no chase up further, and that's just going to be a second objective in the span of a minute. Aux, this is still looking pretty clean as FPX aren't being given many options.
But look, FPX is trying to make sure Scout can't walk back to the mid tower freely. He has to take the long way around, and they want to pressure the mid tier 1 a bit, but I don't think they can do enough. There's too much wave clear on Scout, so they won't get a tower. It's a bit too healthy. But still, I like, even though they don't get the objectives, they're at least doing something with their time, trying to apply some pressure. By the end of the day, EDG get the Dragon, EDG get the Herald. They're in a pretty good spot as of yet, and I think they'll probably be throwing down that Herald mid to get that tier 1 themselves.
So do they need to elevate the game here? Do they need to really escalate tempo here, Aux? Because we talked a lot about side laning of FPX. There's good scaling with Zeri, but it does feel like for EDG, with these multi-map movements like Scout having that in his kit, with a lot of mobility coming through from Flandre, Junjia, and Viper, EDG really want to pull the pace of the game.
I mean, honestly, you'll take any advantage you can get. I don't think there's like a desperate need to snowball like some games. But, I mean, getting an advantage is going to make all that difference, because at some point, Summit's going to become a big problem in the side lane, even in team fights as well. Like, the game before was prime for Viper because you could AoE all the melee champions. But in this one, the Jax is not an easy target to hit. The Ahri is ranged. We see the wall cut them off to get the tower. But yeah, more action in the top lane, it looks like. And Flandre low.
Summit feeling confident here in the matchup. Clid's going to influence it, though, as FPX, they've got a response on the way. Look at EDG here. Moving over vision. Clid's still going deep, but I'm concerned. Junjia's now over the wall, and as he starts up the Krug camp, this is not going to be a 1v2 as onto the jungler. Cyclone is available. He gets stunned up. There's the counter-strike as he's interrupted. Flash away from Junjia. He's got a second portion as he runs back in. Summit's knocked into the air. I told you, FPX. EDG's response was there as Clid gets out over the wall, if only just. But EDG's response is there yet again.
Yeah, a lot burnt there to get those kills, flashing both Flandre and Junjia, but absolutely worth it. The fact that you get Summit there. Bit of an overcommit, and the Wukong, hard to pin down. Even without the W, the ult causing a lot of problems for them. And FPX are starting to try and find these alternative angles, trying to find opportunities for picks, and just struggling right now as EDG keep finding windows to group. Top tower will be the cost of that play on top of the kill that was on the Jax.
Flandre is going to get a lot of gold off this as well with his already CS lead in Aux. He picked this blind. You know, Flandre 2 games in a row now has played this Renekton, and as we see, it takes some time to build the bridge up on the top side as Junjia was the target in this one, but FPX were pretty deep.
Yeah, and they know this is happening because you see as soon as the Jax comes in, everyone beelines over. The Sivir Yuumi so fast with the ultimate. Junjia buys time, and then in the return play, I'm just going to be real. Clid was very lucky to survive this one. They both flash over. And I mean, so low on health there. Notice something, though. In a lot of these plays where they're chasing kills, Viper doesn't flash. It happened last game. It happened this game. He will hold his flash. He doesn't care about the extra little bit of gold. He's like, I need this for team fights. And we're approaching 45 seconds on that Dragon. 9% armor and MR would be fantastic. But also, Soul is looming for EDG.
Man, this is looking like a pretty strong game then. With that Soul pressure with EDG in another team fight situation where gold is relatively even. In fact, 1k in their favor. Aux, it suits EDG. We know this team, one of the best team fighters in the league. We know that Edward Gaming used those advantages they pulled off earlier. And when it comes down to the third, fourth Dragon, this is where they thrive. FPX are facing elimination. They will not have the regional finals to sit on. Right now, I'm concerned. And any Phoenix fans out there are wondering if Lwx can make it back to the World Championship. It's going to rely on this fight, Aux, and you need to tell me how FPX can find a win out of the 5v5 if there is one.
flanks are going to be big. Finding a flank angle, getting onto the back line, not being forced to dash to the Unraveled Earth or the ult of the Yuumi. So that's a great opportunity, but also the poke. If Lwx can start to land some Ultra Shock lasers, it can make all the difference. Look, Care positioning over here, looking for a flank angle, and Summit is coming from behind. This could be the setup that FPX need.
Well, Summit's going to be an award, but Scout is not. He's got the Weaver's Wall available as Dragon still being trialed by EDG. Clid sitting here, strong here with a smite, ready as Junjia gets over the wall. They want to turn for Summit, but they pull off and unable to find it. The Scout with the seismic shove doesn't connect. This is good for FPX. Buying time as Weaver's Wall comes through, but over with the smite. Clid gets it. No Dragon stacking, and Summit jumps in, but he flushes in onto Viper. This Jack's trying to keep FPX alive as Flandre, the first to die. The next is Viper. EDG are exposed. Scout flashes himself as he pokes him down, but Junjia's next. FPX will not go quietly into the night.
They find the team fight they need. The flank angle was there. Summit did his job perfectly, following the flash of Viper, and EDG looks so uncomfortable in their setup for that one. And now Baron should be a free thing to take. No contest going to come through. Not only do they deny the stacking towards the soul, not only do they deny that dragon, but they get the Baron as well. Huge for FPX in their chances of making it back into the series.
And Summit on a carry Aux. How exciting that we don't see him on this horn. We get the Jax, and the aggression sets up FPX. Let's look at this replay again, because this has got to be a proud moment for the Phoenix.
Yeah, so they're trying to get into the Dragon Pit, but they also have to respect Summit on the flank. So Junjia goes for the steal, doesn't find it, but look, the Yuumi is on the Wukong. Viper is alone. The flash is followed with the stun, and sure, Viper doesn't die there, but Flandre tries to help and goes down. The resets come in, and this is what these fights are about, the momentum. You get a kill, you start to dash forwards again. Care doing what he does best on his signature Ahri.
Lwx staying in combat as well. Aux could revisit there. Staying in combat, the resets, as you said, for FPX are so big. Getting that first pick off sets up Care, who's 3-0-1. And against OMG, this was the mid laner that sealed the deal. This is the mid laner that brought FPX to round 2. See if he can do it here in this game number 3 to keep their dream alive as they're looking for Junjia, but FPX are unable to seal that deal in particular. It's a 2-item Ahri, by the way, a 2-item Zeri. As for FPX, waiting for one more item for their AD carry and maybe one more for Care as well. Seems to be the game plan right now.
And I think one thing to mention is it's going to be a little bit difficult at times to push in Baron waves against EDG just because of the wave clear that Sivir has.
Yep.
But this Jax is going to be a problem in the side lane when he gets opportunities to push. But still, even with the Baron up minions, like Viper just clears the waves so quickly. There's a lot of champions where just having Baron alone would mean this tier 1 mid is down, but Sivir definitely helping out. But I love this play from FPX. It's something I was praising EDG for in the last game. Push up the mid wave, rotate over to that side lane where you have a wave stacked. There's not much EDG can do to stop this, and they will start to pick up some of that standing gold. They're already 2,000 ahead. Any more is going to be a pretty nice bonus, especially as we talk about that 3-item spike for Zeri, and it is approaching pretty soon.
2k Baron power play. Remember, the Baron just giving 1,500 gold as well as Graders. Lwx is threatening Viper. They want that turret so badly as FPX committing the Summit. Down the bottom lane, excuse me, the TP, the charm connects, and Scout's dead. Care with another. And EDG losing their mid laner here. Aux with Baron, that opens up the map.
Yeah, and I mean, Summit's just going to be able to take this bot lane tower. Really nice TP from Care to find this angle here. So they are getting a little bit more. The extra gold influx is going to be big, and you can see Summit starting to become a problem in the side lane.
Imagine if he had a real weapon. Summit walking up, Flandre ultis, and immediately as Summit gets out, there's a response from EDG's Junjia. Might find Care. That shutdown is huge. Going to Junjia as well as EDG are still tempting fate. Wanting to push up as Aux FPX felt it, but maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah, they do get the towers though. They got the bot tier 2, and because EDG moved to defend bot side, EDG also lose that mid tier 1. But here, just a dangerous route to take from Scout, especially as he had no flash available. Gets punished by Summit. The follow-up is there from Care. The cleanse down, you're taken. And FPX doing a pretty good job. We saw that dragon fight before was gold even. They now have a 3k lead, and the next dragon is coming up. And I mean, I see that Jax with a frozen heart going towards the Force of Nature. If you start stacking mountain dragons, he is going to be immortal.
I mean, almost level 16 as well, right? There's a big point about this top laner coming into the spotlight after 2 games of being very quiet versus Flandre. Care as well, you could say the same, Aux. Like, FPX have not been talked about. You and I have been so EDG focused. It is nice to actually be talking about FPX in a winning position in the mid-game here in this round 2 of playoffs. They're almost 4,000 gold up at the 25-minute mark, and FPX are so close to an Infinity Edge Zeri, but we now have a Zhong Zhaoglass on Care. So here we go, Aux. FPX, as you said, get that pick off.
Yeah, we have TP for Summit, so if he finds an angle to come in, that would be pretty potent. But out, Viper focus.
Spirit Rush, he gets him! Viper's dead! Junjia might be next as the Cyclone has come through defensively. Viper not expecting Care to be so careless. What a Chad!
And Flash for Viper just came up off cooldown now. Care diving onto him. The Ultra Shock laser laid on top. You can't spell shield everything. Viper goes down. The Dragon does too. And 4K gold is significant, but 2 Mountain Dragons is really going to make them feel that difference. The FPX just turned it on in this game.
Oh, God. I mean, replacing Doinby, his debut year. He's a rookie this year, folks. And Care is making Doinby maybe shivering his boots here with the legacy. At the very least, watch this again, Orcs, because Care just, again, doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he dashes forward. Spell Shield does come out, but so many abilities at once, you can't Spell Shield them all. Ultra Shock laser hits, and then, I mean, EDG, I'm going to be real, you can be happy they didn't lose any more members, but that was not a good look. And now, look at the items coming in. 3 items for Jax. You have the 2 best defensives for each type. Well, like, the one of each. You have the Frozen Heart, fantastic armor item. Force of Nature, fantastic armor item. He is super tanky. 3 items for Care with the Zhonya's, and then all that damage available through the land is the Shadow Flame. But the big one for me is Lwx, IE completed. Those Ultra Shock lasers were already hit, and it's going to be insane now.
3 items, very insane. 3 for Sivir. We've got 80 carries in a prime position as FPX, after that little pick off, people might be sitting there being like, oh, it was just 1 pick, but 4K now the lead. The Dragon there for FPX as well as Junjia walks into what was his jungle, but now no longer. This Ahri is level 16, and there's a threat if you get hit by the charm. And Orcs, we also have a Baron up in 10 seconds as well. So FPX setting up their prominence in the top side with little vision from EDG towards the purple worm.
Yeah, very hard to approach as well. You face tech into a charm, a stun from Viego. And what I love Lwx has been doing such a good job of is when they focus the target, he's finding these angles to laser on top. So the burst is just so significant.
Oh, good pick though. Clid has been hit by a seismic shove. Scout chasing this up as Junjia is now on the hung angle. Viper is on the hunt, but Junjia's unable to follow up. FPX go a little bit deep there, Orcs, and that's kind of the punishment we can expect from EDG despite being behind.
Good angle, burning a couple of ults there from FPX. And EDG are still trying to be very proactive with this, and FPX have to respect them because, you know, as much as we said they're in the lead, they're in a really powerful position. If you make a mistake, if you lose Clid, if you lose Care at the start of the fight, I feel like you lose so much power. And even though they have that lead, still, Viper on 3 items is very scary. But for now, the FPX have put some attention towards that Baron area. I don't think they're going to do it in the next couple of minutes. We start to look towards that Dragon. And I just want to bring everyone back, though, to the significance of the series. This was the matchup we had in summer 2021 finals between these 2 orgs. They both won a Worlds. EDG won. FPX ended up having a massive disappointment, let's be real. And the loser of this series does not get to go to Worlds. They will not have enough points to go to regionals, so super impactful for both teams here.
Isn't it insane, right? Like, FPX and EDG were both pretty hyped up teams in 2021. A lot of people said our FPX is the return of Doinby, the return of FPX with Nuguri up in the top lane. The roster changed in 2022, and now with new players trying to keep themselves alive as the fight's here in the mid lane, while Summit is doing so much work on the Jacks and the sides. At the very least, EDG being forced to this one area, Orcs. FPX is slowly whittling away the turrets as Summit's walking up now, and Care's just looking for a pick off the side.
I will say, Wukong Yuumi is probably one of the best pairings in the game to contest vision, because the Wukong's so hard to pin down, the Yuumi can just attach and ward for you. But Summit is starting to be a problem in the side lane. We're seeing Flandre struggle, having to reset frequently when he takes these bad trades. But we've kind of missed the point of oh, Summit, this might be a bit too much.
He's going for the blue buff. Is he actually going to die for blue? It is the level 17 Jax, though. Remember how relevant he is. I mean, look at the damage he takes.
Yeah, no Leandry's on Scout, and it just feels like he pumps damage into him, and Summit just doesn't care. Like, his health bar was... Oh, the engage!
Meanwhile, they face checked, and Junjia is almost dead. However, the response on Clid, nope, denied. Junjia's gonna die as well, and Aux, let's just talk about damage for a second. I think EDG just running out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just that, though. The Mikhails was so quick for Meiko, and he just can't get away. And now, jungler down. They're in the pit. EDG are posturing for a fight.
Hoping for Viper here at 5k FPX to stay in the series. The Baron there, and the steal! Viper with a boomerang blade. He better come to Australia after that. Huge return.
Oh, my lord. Disaster for FPX. They did everything right. The setup was good. They killed the jungler. They should have the Baron and Clid. Doesn't smite. The boomerang blade is enough, and now they've lost posture on Dragon. EDG can try and set up here. Junjia's back alive. Not only did they manage to get the Baron, but those extra stats could be pretty big. And FPX, that could be it. That could be the moment that costs you this game. But it's not at that point yet. They're going to try and contest this Dragon. Would be third for either side.
Well, it's going to be a big deal. Let's see if Clid can get the smite down now, as I'm sure we'll revisit that one. Summit's running in solo with the TP, and EDG know that they can clap them down and deny FPX a game of return. At the very least, FPX committing all 5 members. Right now, EDG is scared, so third Mountain Dragon goes down. But Aux, I cannot believe Baron was stolen by Viper's Q.
I mean, EDG were looking ready to fight. I thought Baron gone, it's go time. It's at one point. Oh, it just doesn't smite in time. It gets bursted down, and the boomerang blade does enough. Disaster. I will say, though, they're still up in gold. 3 Mountain Dragons, that's 27% armor and MR. I don't have to tell you, that's a lot, right? Jack's very tanky. And Viper, even with all the armor and armor on the other team, he's not opted for the low doms. He's gone for the Bloodthirster. He just wants to survive. So FPX still ahead, but that hit, that losing that Baron has definitely done a lot.
However, with the mistake out of the way, Aux, do you still feel like, you know, you were saying damage from people like from Renekton, right? We also have a taliyah mid, which we know is very burst orientated. As On the Hunt actually popped. He's trying to TP out. There's the Weaver's Wall on top. The stun, he gets him in the nick of time. That's got to be the last 0.5 seconds of Summit's TP as everyone's on top for Jax. But Summit's still taking so long to die. He flashes. Junjia flashes the match, but Aux, even with the Baron buff, FPX are able to pull up a turret through the mid lane, and they're not just losing members without getting a trade.
Yeah, I mean, they get a kill, they lose 2 towers. Not exactly an optimal trade for EDG, but they had to deal with the Jax. Summit was too much of a problem in the side lane. The shutdown did go over to the Wukong as well. Not the ideal person, I feel, at this point. But they want to try and get something in return. They have Baron. They want to answer for the towers that were taken. There's a wave in bot they are leaning towards. Summit dead for 30.
Surely not. Like, surely FPX still confident enough. This turret's going to go down. Inhibitor's going to be threatened here at the very least with the 2k Baron power play. Viper's wave clear insane, Aux. I know I didn't get a chance to ask you, but hopefully I do in a second. Flandre has been caught out as a flash with Dominus. Gets the stun up, and he's just dead. And FPX finding the top laner now, and they're going to look for the rest. Care comes in, the charm not connecting over the wall, and Scout zoning him. Means Care has to find another way around, but EDG, the rest of them get out, and Aux. There's still so much gameplay to be had from EDG, while FPX always find that response here in the game 3.
Yeah, just a fantastic job in Care again. Hunting down the Renekton. I think Flandre just feeling confident, but against the mobility from this team, just so hard to position safely. But it's just a blind charm over the wall, and then the chase down comes through. And that Scout might be caught on screen. Has to cleanse there.
Yeah.
Man, FPX are constantly challenging. And I think EDG, those summoners, so flash down for Flandre, cleanse down for Scout, those won't be back up for that dragon fight in 2 minutes. And I think EDG are still struggling to cut through things like the Jax. You give them Mountain Soul as well, it's going to be hard.
So walking through a little bit about that damage, I still haven't gotten that question out of you as Care gets stopped in the back. Are EDG just running out of damage at this point?
I mean, I feel like they have a Sivir. As soon as Viper gets LDR, he'll be able to cut through basically anything.
Okay.
Scout is struggling. Like, you need the pen items. This is a problem. We don't have a Void Staff on Scout. We don't have an LDR on Viper. Even champions who don't have many resists, just because they're getting 27% extra, like, even if you have base MR, base armor, that's a lot, right? If you have 100, like, close to 100 base armor with like your runes, you're getting like an extra 20, 27. It's ridiculous. So the lack of pen items make this a hard fight for EDG, and that might be their downfall, is the lack of damage when they need it now. I mean, look at the Jax, 347 armor.
Oh.
That's ridiculous.
Yep, that's just insane. Like, even Viper, even with the LDR, Orcs might be too little too late. 35-minute game. It is a Jax who is just unleashed. I'm so glad Summit gets to show us this game, because I'm also glad that FPX might not be done with the series. A minute till that Dragon you talked about, and Baron as well.
Viper's gone for the Zeal, so clearly knowing he needs as much power now for this fight. He can't afford the LDR. He's like, I just need to get what I can.
Yep.
But no armor pen, no magic pen. That is going to be... I feel like Summit's just too tanky. If he gets on the back line, it's done.
TP going to come through. Where's this going? Looks like the mid lane for now. As FPX are waiting for a response. Summit off the wing again. Now Flandre joins in. This Renekton, not too much use, as you can see, still building towards the fourth item, but damage source hasn't been good for a while. Lwx is a Zeri this late in the game. We're going to ARAM as they jump onto Flandre, but Clid takes the source of damage. But look at Viper, almost in the nick of time as Lwx just cleans off the rest. Flandre zoning out as Summit jumps on in on top of Scout, who is abandoned. Edward Gaming might be world champions, but in this series, they're not as dominant as we first thought, as Lwx is uncharged, unrelenting, and FPX are ready to soar.
And now they could just go for the end. Viper not strong enough. You saw he's trying to step up to Lwx. The engage came in onto the Zeri, but the damage wasn't there. 2v5, there's no way to defend this.
Viper's got the wave clear, but you're right, the numbers aren't in his favor, and FPX, when death knocked on the door, it looks like they decided to say, not today. The series will go on, and FPX try to keep that miracle run in check as we move to a Game 4 against the 2021 World Champs.
And FPX managed to answer back. After Game 1, I was like, it's Game 1, it's whatever. After Game 2, it was looking really dire for them, but they pull it through. The Jax for Summit was huge. Care on that Ahri. We're seeing why OMG denied it from him all 5 games. He is a beast on this pick, and they are able to take a game, keep their hopes alive in this series.
I mean, the fact that FPX fought back from what was another EDG turnaround, right? Orcs we saw in the mid game was really good pick potential. There was EDG punishing FPX's over-aggression, but scaling came into it. The damage from Summit was huge, but also the lack of against this Jax. There's so many good things to highlight from FPX, and I'm glad it's not a 3-0 when FPX have shown, you know, against OMG, against teams in the regular split, this team can be quite surprising in longer series.
Yeah, and I think a team that has definitely leveled up, right? I think that's what we can safely say. This team was looking not like in their final form when we saw them at the end of the regular season. We saw some struggles. We saw some struggles when it came to setup in the team fights, when playing from behind. They really found their angles here. And I think that team fight that turned it around, the one-around Dragon, they knew exactly what they needed to do. Summit's positioning on that flank angle made it so difficult. And this whole series long, we've said EDG are the better team fighters. And that's what we saw. This game, FPX managed to dispel that.
Yeah, I think FPX, especially the Orcs, like, we talked a lot about their deficit in the early game. Now, this game was relatively even. I think we actually got FPX holding gold, if not 500 ahead. But we talked a lot about FPX's early game, EDG's early game, how it transitioned. I think this time around, we saw FPX play that aggression really well in the mid-game where, remember the first and second game, they got shut out completely, but Care on that Ahri, so good in the picks, Orcs. Like, I feel like that was also a big decider.
Yeah, I mean, Care is fantastic on this pick. I feel like, you know, Care is a good mid laner, a very good mid laner. We have some insane mid laners in the LPL. Yep. And I think when Care's on his Ahri, he is up there. I think his Ahri is comparable with best in the league. It's just such a good performance, constantly found these charm angles, constantly able to pick people off. And then Lwx was that DPS threat, and Summit was just immortal. The Renekton blind, they had an answer this time. They didn't go for the Ornn again, and Summit showed what he can do. So yeah, rough one for EDG. They're still in a favorable position in the series. The FPX showing that this Phoenix can still peck, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's the closest thing. I was going to say sore Orcs, You know, they can fly.
Well, I was thinking like can still bite, but I'm like, I think peck is more appropriate.
You've seen Harry Potter, dude. That Phoenix, you know, he crumbles into ashes or he soars again. All right, it's not too hard. At the very least, look, FPX at least not losing out 3-0 is a start. But is the reverse sweep really a dream, or is it going to become reality? At least we go to a game 4 to find out.